Right, this is the moment of truth. Is that microphone working?
Yes. Keep talking.
Okay, keep talking. Okay, cool, thank you. Thanks, Pat. So to kick us off, I wanted to quickly pause and kind of reflect on the moment that we're in and the size of the opportunity that's in front of all of us. When Tim and I founded Loomery in 2020, that's us in his spare room in Tim's house, we had a hypothesis that it was about to get dramatically faster and easier to make great software. That was 6 years ago. We wrote all about the opportunity, used lots of tools for accelerating development. Some of them were great, but lots of them massively overpromised. You might say we're a few years too early to the opportunity, but if you look at what's possible today, what an amazing time to be in this industry and you know, building software and experiences. Fast forward 6 years, and we've been trusted to build products, digital software for some amazing organizations in the UK and beyond. For anyone who doesn't know, Loomery is a digital product agency based here in London. And yeah, we've been working with many of those organizations and lots of others to help them kind of accelerate their digital product journey. The things that clients ask us to do normally fall into one of these three camps. Typically, it's they can't afford to mess up a new digital product or proposition. They have an existing product or service and they need help improving that. Or they need to get better at building digital products and services and they need to kind of teach their teams and build new capabilities. So that's enough about Loomery. I'm not going to talk about us anymore. So you're all here to hear about the age of software abundance. And what do we mean by that? Well, it's clear to anyone who's tried Lovable or Claude Code or even just spoken to ChatGPT or Gemini that something fundamental is changing, right? I think you probably wouldn't be here if you didn't agree. But with so much changing so fast, it's very hard to put your finger on exactly what the impact is going to be. One thing we do know is it's much easier to create, test, and deploy working software than it's ever been, in large part thanks to LLMs. And there's lots of evidence in that kind of increase in productivity. So more new websites, more new apps, much more code deployed every day in the last year than in any of the previous years. That's a dramatic jump up in all of those things. So coding productivity is clearly increasing. And you might think that means, oh, maybe there's less need for developers if every developer is getting more effective. But that's definitely not the case either. We're seeing a big jump up in the developer community as well. So over the last year, one new developer joined GitHub every second. So there's a lot of new developers joining the community and learning how to deliver products. So we've got developers who are more productive than ever, delivering more than they ever have before. And what we believe that's going to lead to is abundance in software. Pretty much every one of you has probably read an article or heard someone talk about the Jevons paradox, so I'm not going to go into it in too much detail. You're probably familiar with it. It's the observation that William Jevons made 160 years ago that the introduction of more efficient steam engines actually increased demand for coal rather than the reverse, which is what you may have expected. At Loomery, we think the same is going to happen to software. The introduction of more efficient tools is actually going to increase demand for software rather than the reverse. That's not just because of coding tools and agents building products. It's because we believe we're nowhere near the kind of true demand for what software can do. We haven't met that. There's loads and loads of new opportunities for software to improve our lives. That's true for the software that we use on our own. It's true for the software that businesses use. It's true for all the devices and things around us that haven't yet been automated. There's lots and lots and lots of opportunity to build great new software. So when we think about the age of software abundance and we think about building great experiences enabled by software, it feels like everything's up for grabs at the moment. There are three big questions we've heard from our clients and in conversations over the last 6 months. That is, how do we build products? What's the right way to build great products? And who builds what? Lots of changes happening there. And almost most importantly of the three, what do we build? Do we build more? Do we build less? Do we build the same but better? There's lots of change happening in the industry. And luckily, we've got some experts here to talk about it today. There's also this live question about when the first one-person billion-dollar company is going to be created. And while Sam and his pals are betting about it on WhatsApp, a whole new generation of entrepreneurs are just cracking on, building new businesses with much smaller teams than we've ever seen before. And that company may have already been founded. Maybe it's going to be founded by someone in the room today, we'll see. But there's a massive opportunity ahead. So the first big question, how do we build great products? The first big change that we really saw was in how these products are built. So Claude Code has been with us just a year. Feels like a lot longer than that, right? And it now accounts for about 4% of GitHub code commits, maybe more, depending on who you believe. In that year, we've seen kind of fundamental changes in how digital products are created. We've also seen a lot of people rushing to just buy an answer, buy a solution, and roll it out. I'm picking on Copilot a bit here. The point isn't really about that product. It's about the idea that you can buy a single solution that's AI-powered, that's going to have all the answers for your kind of software lifecycle. That doesn't really work in reality. If anyone's achieved that, let me know, because I'd love to hear about it. The best models and tools are changing at such a fast pace. It's almost faster than we're able to adopt them. And we saw that when we ran what we're calling the Loom Index, which is an index of the most efficient AI coding assistants. Kind of the meaning of best depends on what you're asking it to do. So yeah, we tested a number of different models against different coding tasks, different sizes, different complexities, different technical domains. And we definitely can't say that there's one leading model at the moment. These results kind of change week by week, depending on who's just launched a new model. There are lots of different models that are good at different jobs. We probably do know a little bit about the future, though. We don't have complete consensus on this, and there's lots of things still changing. But I think we're pretty confident at Loomery that the systems in the future will be able to call on the best model available for the job rather than being tied to a single model. We're pretty confident that they'll be able to speak to multiple expert agents to do complex work. We're pretty confident that they'll have controlled access to both personal and organizational context. And we're confident that they'll be able to proactively act on your behalf, but with some specific guardrails, and that they'll know when and how to call on human expertise and judgment. That's the opportunity. If someone can build the system that does all of those things, maybe we can all take slightly longer holidays. So as I go through today, I wanted to talk about a few building blocks you can put in place to start on this journey if you haven't already. Some of these things we're already doing today. Our team, for example, has really focused on making learning and testing new tools and models a part of their everyday. Our weekly all hands is often kind of a playback of something that someone's learned from using a new tool that we can then roll out to the rest of the team. And we're also building expert agents into our development workflows. For example, I was talking to one of our AI engineers yesterday. He's working with a university to build a series of proofs of concept. He's the only engineer on the team, and he's using an expert agent to kind of advise on architecture best practice for each of the proofs of concept that he builds. Now that's allowing him to go much further, much faster than he would otherwise, and he's got access to kind of best practice advice in architecture. But imagine how that could change your job if you could go and speak to 5, 10 experts in their fields at the drop of a hat. And we've got a really exciting speaker on this topic today. So we've got Christian here from Anthropic, who's going to speak to you all about some of the advances happening with Claude and beyond. The second question is about who does what in a product team, and this feels like a big area of change and somewhere where we're kind of innovating our model and changing how we do work. And we've seen all of our favorite tools, don't worry if your favorite one isn't up there, I'm sure it's true, getting a sprinkle of AI, and everyone's had these little kind of gem icons appear in their apps. So designers got Figma with AI, and engineers got their favorite IDE with AI, and product managers maybe got Jira with AI, and Notion with AI, and I don't know what else, but everyone's got a little bit of AI now. The challenges we saw in our recent survey with product and technology leaders, that the way AI is getting deployed is actually entrenching the silos in the way people work. So rather than kind of changing the way we think about building a piece of software, if everyone's just doing the thing they do in the silo they were in before, we're not really improving anything, we're just, running a little bit faster. So that's the thing to think about. It's really exciting that we can all get more of our work done. Tasks are generally more efficient, that's great. But the big challenge is to think about the opportunity to do more than just the tasks that you're doing today that maybe require other skills or other capabilities. So that might be designers deploying code, it might be engineers making more product decisions, it might be product managers prototyping, and you can imagine many, many more examples. So that's not the end of specialism, but it's a big increase in the kind of scope of what each individual can do. And we're seeing this already within our teams. The biggest lesson we've learned from that is it's really important to capture the best practice within your organization so that these kind of cross-disciplinary individuals can learn from the engineers or the designers and really know what best practice looks like. We've been doing that over the last few years at Loomery, capturing a big record of our practices and our methods that is both human and machine readable. The head of organizational design at Airbnb called this shift the end of role clarity, which is an interesting, maybe slightly scary way to think about it. But I think it's a huge chance for all of us to do more and have more impact. And when you think about it at the level of the team, it probably means that our teams will get smaller as you go from everyone having their very kind of specifically defined role to being able to do slightly more. That's a huge opportunity. And if your development teams look the same as they did 5 years ago, it's probably time to start asking some questions about who's doing what and why. That doesn't mean that we're all going to be defunct. There are still going to be lots of things that humans are best at. This is a short list, but it's a long way off the idea that machines will be able to truly understand people's motivations and behaviors. The same with creating kind of novel creative output, the same with navigating the politics within an organization. We're a long way off that. There's a big role for us as, lumps of flesh to be having a big impact on creating software. But some things that you could put in place today: encourage, enable, think about how you might create role expansion. You're going to hear a bit about that from Aaron and Will in a second, about how we've been doing that at Loomery. And also think about codifying your organizational knowledge, both for agents and for humans. So Aaron and Will are going to talk a bit about how we're using the product engineering role at Loomery. Helne is going to test some of your assumptions about how far a designer can go in the development process and tell us a little bit about how the designers at Monzo are kind of pushing the definition of the role. So final question, what? Probably the most important question of the three. We're in an age of software abundance. How does it change what we build? Some people would tell you it means we should just build everything now. Maybe we should and just let the market decide what succeeds and what doesn't succeed. There's also an argument that we're sleepwalking into low-quality, buggy experiences that aren't secure and kind of lower the bar for digital experiences. I'm not sure I'm on either end of the spectrum. I think I probably fall somewhere between the two. One big challenge we're seeing a lot is when you can build unlimited software, your organization may not be ready for it. There's lots of things that become new bottlenecks when you can ship unlimited software, and that might be, have you got legal and compliance on board? Is someone going to go to jail if we ship this thing? Have we planned how we're going to launch and promote the thing? Have we briefed customer service? There's a true story which I won't tell you because it would be breaching someone's confidence, but don't launch a thing before you've told customer service what happens when something goes wrong, so when thousands of people call up and complain, you know how to deal with it. That's a true story that's happened in the last few weeks. That's a serious one to think about when you're shipping new software. And do we have the team and the skills we need to run and support the new thing? It's great just getting it out, but are you ready to support it in live? So yeah, some things to think about. And if you think about the other big change going on here, if we say that maybe the Industrial Revolution made goods abundant, but our time scarce, and that the internet made information abundant and our attention scarce, and I think we're all kind of living with the consequences of that, and we're arguing that AI is making software abundant, then where's the new scarcity? Well, I think it's probably in kind of discernment and judgment. What should we ship? What's good quality? Should we really be doing this thing? Where scarcity of engineering capacity used to be a kind of natural filter for forcing us to prioritize where we put our effort and our resource. Today, you need kind of real judgment, and that might be an individual with, genuine taste, or it might be a better process for deciding what you prioritize. You need to build that judgment into your process. So some things to think about: adjust your resource profiles to make sure you're addressing those new bottlenecks. Hire, coach, incentivize, make sure you're developing that judgment within your teams, and clearly link strategy with how you're shipping at pace and making sure you're getting the right feedback loops. And luckily, we've got an expert on exactly that topic speaking to us in a minute, Martin Eriksson. I won't give away too much of what he's going to tell you, but it's fascinating in this age. So there's a summary of some of the things. I think there's lots more we could all be doing, and we're going to hear some really interesting examples from some of the people speaking today. But that's enough for me. We've got Christian up next. I'm going to blabber on a little bit while he gets his laptop set up. We're super excited to have Christian here speaking today. Feel free to unplug me if you want. Yeah, obviously Anthropic are at the very forefront of these changes, and many of us will have used the tools that they are building and launching into the world. It seems like every week there's an exciting announcement from Anthropic, and so yeah, we're delighted to have Christian here today.